We have some big news regarding Hedera and Hbar that we are going to be talking about in this video. I highly suggest everybody stay around until the end of this video. But with that being said, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. If we take a quick look at the price action on Hbar, it's not that great. I mean, last month we're still down about 13.2%. I strongly encourage everyone to join the free Discord. There's going to be a link at the top of the description below. This is one of the most valuable and informative Discords out there, and it's completely free. There's a free side that has a ton of free crypto gems, free market strategies, guides, market trends, free charts, and there's also going to be new cheat sheets dropped in this Discord. And already, we have a ton of testimonials from members of the Discord that have been absolutely loving it. So what are you waiting for? Go and click the link at the top of the description below and join the free Discord. Last year, we're still up about 30.7%, not too bad. But for the most part, we are still waiting for a big pop to the upside. The last little run up here was pretty much nothing. It was short-lived. We are expecting on this next big move to the upside well over 20 plus cents. And that will most likely happen once we start to see Bitcoin dominance breaking down a bit, while we start to see Bitcoin heating up a little bit more. Right now, I'm not really focused too much on price action when it comes to altcoins. I'm more so focused on their Bitcoin pairs and, dominance. I see so many people getting caught up looking at the USD chart because this is basically what they can get for their one Hbar. But I think everyone should be focused on Bitcoin pairs right now and what Bitcoin dominance itself is really doing. Because once you do focus on those two, you can really kind of see what's going to happen next when it comes to the USD chart. But building on top of that, let's take a quick look at what is happening. So over here, it's got posted on the 23rd. We have Hedera is proud to have CFO and treasurer representing the network at this year's Enterprise Digital Asset Summit, bringing together industry-leading voices, firms, and institutions to shape the future of on-chain enterprise finance. Now, as we really look at Hedera, we know Hedera is enterprise grade focused. We know that they are really working with some of the largest players out there. I don't think that I need to tell you guys that. If you go look at the GC, just for an example, a lot of those big enterprises are massive names in the Web2 space. Now, if we actually look at the EDAS, the Enterprise Digital Asset Summit, this just happened in Nashville on July 24th. Just take a look real quick about what this is about. So get ready for the Enterprise Digital Asset Summit, where innovation meets expertise to shape the future of enterprise finance. And if we look at the agenda here, we have some morning sessions regarding the state of enterprise adoption for digital assets, IPO readiness for digital asset enterprises. And we also have another morning session here. So crypto tax update, B2B enterprise payments, a discussion with Coinbase and Google, keynote by Pat White from Bitwave. Then over here, we have the afternoon sessions. This is where we see accounting reports, advanced COGS, plus revenue recognition, a tech talk, institutional accounting and financial controls, the art of crypto accounting, ETFs, RWAs, and beyond. Another afternoon session, regulatory compliance, the power of Lightning, accounting for the future, best practices and insights from leading CPA. So really just getting prepared for what's happening around the enterprise side of things. And here we actually have cutting edge on-chain discussions. Stay at the forefront of industry trends with discussions on enterprise B2B payments, stablecoin settlements, real-world asset tokenization, institutional staking, and beyond. And if we look at some of the speakers here, this is where things get a little bit more interesting. So you have Coinbase here, Hedera, Deloitte, Bitwave, Ernst & Young, Voltage, CleanSpark, Google, Lightspark. Again, these are more so like some of these are like layer 2 platforms for Bitcoin. We have PwC, Propeller, Wall Street Blockchain Alliance. These are just some pretty large enterprise names in the world of finance. You even have Fidelity on here as well around digital assets. But some of these discussions are just getting us prepared for what's coming. And when I say us, ultimately, it's more so enterprises, preparing them for what's coming. Because the enterprise space is going to be shaken in such a large way. I focus on the enterprises already working with Hedera. I focus on the enterprise working with, Ripple or Quants, Casper. I mean, the enterprises are here. They're prepared. They have been building as well with some names like Hedera. We focus on Hedera because of all of the enterprises behind it. They will be one of the big winners. But before I really continue on talking more so about enterprise and stuff, I want to address the compensation issue going back to June. Everyone was aware of this. The Hbar Foundation put out this report or this post regarding it, and everyone was like, this is terrible. Like, you didn't even really address the problems. And we were like, are they going to change this? They did announce that they were doing, a lot more grants around the community, and community was actually voting on it, which was a great change. That was great. And then we got this. We saw a need for change, so we're changing. Goodbye, Swirls Labs. Hello, Hashgraph. This is incredible. Over here, we have a full breakdown of what this really means. We have, this is an exciting day for the Hedera ecosystem. Check this out.
I'm Eric Piscini, and I'm here to share some really exciting news.
Also, I do apologize if YouTube does mute this. It has some music on it, so YouTube might mute it. I do apologize if they do.
Swirls Labs is changing its name to Hashgraph.
Value creation comes from having a thriving ecosystem of builders who are developing decentralized apps on top of the Hedera network. The ethos of a public network is that it should evolve and grow on its own over time and not be steered by a select group of a few people. So for that reason, in May of 2022, we left Hedera, Lehman and I, to found Swirls Labs. And we did this with the explicit goal of establishing a standalone company that would not only support the Hedera network's software development, but also contribute independently to the Hedera ecosystem with new products that use and are complementary to the Hedera network and the ecosystem.
I'm excited about this name change. This is cool. So Hashgraph is a word the world knows. The Hashgraph consensus algorithm, I remember at the very first hackathon, we passed out t-shirts that said, what is Hashgraph? And people now know. Everybody knows what Hashgraph is. And I love that we're going full circle to make our name be Hashgraph. And really what we're talking about is recovering the original vision of shared worlds. The idea is that there isn't just one ledger. There's a million different little shared worlds, and anyone can wave their hand and carve out a piece of cyberspace and create their little shared world that's private, but then they all link to each other and to the public ledger, and that we are able then to talk back and forth. And so this shows why things like bridges will be very important. It's critical that we be able to create these ledgers. You can create a ledger that's private, that's only in one country, only run by certain types of people, and then you can have Hedera is the public ledger, and then you can have them talking to each other. You can even imagine private ledgers that are temporary, like while you're playing a game, one is created during your game, and after an hour, it shuts down when your game ends. And then it talks back to the major ledger, the public ledger, and records things. So I love this idea that we are now coming full circle, and we will be able to do this now under the name of Hashgraph, which is exceedingly exciting to me.
I couldn't be more excited about building on the top of the vision that Mans and Lehman set for us about 6 years ago. I want Hashgraph in the future to be a verb. I want people to say, did you Hashgraph your application, your business model, your idea? And together as an ecosystem, I know we can do that and push the limit of what can be built with the Hashgraph technology. Thank you.
Now, you might be saying, well, Nick, this is just a name change. Let's be honest, this isn't much. It's much more than just a name change, because what we are about to see is private ledger technology talking to the public ledger. This is going to unlock a ton of other use cases, but it's also to build on the network, help accelerate it, help grow it, help bring in more builders, help support the ecosystem that's already here. I love to see this. You can clearly see the initiative that they are putting in to focus on improving, focus on growing, and expanding what we already have. And remember, with a private ledger technology comes even more enterprise grade focus. Why? Go look at private Ethereum technology. It is adopted by JP Morgan, massive enterprises, major names out there. This is where Hedera really starts to kind of take over, in my opinion. Now, I did put out a post over on X, and I said, it's clear that Hedera and Hbar is one of the few technologies that will run the world. Now, you might be saying, Nick, come on, like, that's ridiculous. For an example, subjective views quoted this and said, "No lies detected. Hedera has global recognition as an enterprise-grade DLT solution and is clearly looked at by major players like Mondelez, for an example. FYI, BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, JP Morgan, and Bank of America are all major shareholders of Mondelez." And I just want to give a shout out to Subjective Views because I was actually not aware of this. We could actually see the top institutional holders here. Vanguard holds about almost 10%, BlackRock 7.23%, State Street about 4.3%, JP Morgan about almost 4%. And a few other players as well, like Bank of America holds about 1.9%, Morgan Stanley holds about 1.64%. It's just wild that, these are like the big players that are holding significant percentages of Mondelez. Now, outside of that, this is all enterprise, which leads me back to EDAS. This was an Enterprise Digital Asset Summit. A lot of these summits and a lot of these big conferences are all featuring some of the heavy hitters out there. Even Davos, even a lot of the meetings that Hedera was sitting at, all of them are focusing on enterprises, focusing on institutions, focusing on working with them to improve finance, for an example, or any major use case out there. This is where you look at Hedera and you just scroll through some of what they're focused on, and you really kind of pick and choose what they're doing. Like, for example, Red Swan, which is just one name. I've mentioned Red Swan so many times. More so recently, they just announced that they're building even more upon this use case. Hashgraph quoted this and said, "We are beyond excited to continue working with Red Swan alongside the Hbar Foundation on their mission to fundamentally disrupt the commercial real estate market through tokenization of property assets on Hedera." And we have similar Web3 goals and objectives, but when it comes to strategically connecting beneficial resources, they provide strong global solutions. Working with Hashgraph has been like having an extension of our company in tech development and marketing. And you know what's funny is that this is like one use case that is disrupting $380 trillion worth of a asset class like real estate. Okay. And even when you look at Bank Social with credit unions, that's trillions of dollars as well. These are the use cases that I love to look into. I love to put a spotlight on because we are now watching and witnessing the evolution of specific asset classes that have so much money behind them. Real estate is a market that is just like, it was so obvious. And when I say that, it's an asset class that needs restructuring, needs efficient technology. Tokenization unlocks so much liquidity, unlocks transparency. It also unlocks 24/7, 365 trading of real estate tokenized assets. Again, as we really address what's going on here, it's clear that Hedera is becoming a much larger piece of not just crypto, but Web 2. This is why when I say something like, it's clear that Hedera and Hbar is one of the few technologies that will run the world, people can laugh, people can say what they want, but when you go through the list of all of these cryptocurrencies, okay, I could pretty much only pick out maybe in the top 100, maybe like 10 projects that, and I'm just being really generous with 10, right? That will be around in the next 5-10 years. One project that to me just makes sense that it will be around for the next 10 years is Hedera. Regardless of what anyone's opinion is on Hedera today, this is one of those projects that I foresee being around for the next 10 years because it's future-proof, one. The focus on enterprises and institutions is a big one to mention as well. Once we do see regulations in this space, that will propel Hedera to massive heights. So many people are overlooking what regulations will actually do for the space and what it unlocks for names like Hedera. That's where we see the true value of a lot of these assets, where you start to see all of the work, all of the announcements, all of the good news paying off. Right now, when you look at all the good news, it's like, where's the price action? It's non-existent because nobody cares about the good news. Nobody cares about, what institutions or enterprises are doing because it's boring. Nobody cares about Mondelez or what Mondelez is doing with Hedera. only a select few people really see the value behind a name like Mondelez working with Hedera. But then, once regulations hit, people will realize just how obvious of a player Hedera was in the space for being a blue chip in not only crypto, but the real world as well. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.